Everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at the Formula One regulations change for next season 2026. We would like to understand these regulation changes a little bit better, but also, in my opinion, these rule changes should be delayed. Why do I think these rule changes should be delayed? Because last season, 2024 was one of the most competitive seasons we've had in Formula One for years now. I mean, the top four teams were competing for wins, and that is quite incredible. The top three teams were competing for the championship. That was incredible to see. So I'm here on the Williams site. I'm going to go through some of the Formula One 2026 rule changes. The FIA has released the much anticipated regulations for 2026 chassis update and previous confirmed updated power units regulations. So yes, power units, that's also going into change. So here's everything you need to know about the new look coming into Formula One in 2026. Cars will be made 30 kilograms lighter than the current configurations. More specifically, the maximum wheelbase have been reduced to 200 millimeters, and the width has been slimmed down to 100 millimeters. In combination with the significant reduction in weight, the FIA says that the car downforce has been reduced by 30% and drag by 55%. These changes are set to improve the handling and efficiency of the car for more cutting-edge battle on track. A WeWork power unit utilizing 100% sustainable fuel and increased electric power of up to almost 300%. The power of the 2026 hybrid unit will be reduced from the current 550-560 kilowatts to an output of around 400 kilowatts. However, the electrical power has been upgraded from 120 kilowatt to 350 kilowatts. What's more, the amount of energy that can be recuperated in the car's braking phase when taken on corners have doubled to 8.5 mJ per lap. A commitment from 6 different power units manufacturers have been made for the 2026 regulations, which include Mercedes. Movable front wing and rear wing regulation change will see cars have a new active aerodynamics, which includes adjustable front and rear wings. These new era innovations will promote greater cornering speed, lower drag, and greater straight line speed with the change of angle. Enabled in specific zones, the new system will mirror the current DRS overtaken format. An MGUK override mode will allow additional electrical power deployment for the following car. So this is quite a lot of changes. I'm not going to lie to you. This is quite a lot of changes. And I think something similar will happen in 2026. That was similar to 2022. I think one or two teams are probably going to ace these regulations more than the others, and I think it's going to mess up what we have right now. We have 4 teams that are competitive right now. That is unprecedented in Ferrari. That has been unprecedented in the recent years of Formula One, especially since the hybrid era has begun in 2014. So with these rule changes, I'm starting to think like, why can't they be delayed? And instead of, just making so many changes all at once, why not make these changes gradually over the coming years? Instead of introducing all of these crazy differences, some teams are going to get it right, some teams are going to get it terribly wrong. Remember now, it mentions right here an MGUK override mode that allows additional extra electronical power deployment for the following cars. So does that mean the car behind you will have additional MGUK override mode that allows for additional electrical power deployment? So the other car behind you can go faster because of this override mode, but not just because of the wing, not just because of DRS, but actually also because of an additional electrical power deployment. Holy crap. So this is like a video game, like you deploy extra power to get your car to overtake. To increase the number of overtaken opportunity, the FIA announced a manual overtaken mode called MGUK override that provides 350 kilowatts for up to 337 kph, kilometers per hour. It will be deployed at any point when driver is within 1 second of the car in front. Further safety reinforcement through more rugged testing and robust structures. With changes implemented to further on-track entertainment, safety remains at the forefront with these 2026 regulations. Front impact structure rule introduced two-stage nose design to lower the potential of detachment upon impact, while defense around the driver and fuel cells have been upgraded. In addition to material car improvements, side intrusion rule have been made more stringent. That is a lot. That is a lot. And I'm not going to lie, like I said, with so many different rule changes coming in, so many different things coming in, there's going to be those teams that have got it right and those teams that will struggle. So currently, like I said, we got a 4-team battle, especially in 2025. We're probably not going to see that in 2026 and 2027. And that's really unfortunate because we just went through rule changes in 2022. And we've had to watch Red Bull dominating for a few years now. Where after these rule changes, we're probably going to have to see the same thing. Not just that, but the engine block, the engine freeze, that's coming away. That's coming away next year. Teams will go back to developing their power unit. So once again, a lot of areas to exploit. I believe to make racing better, it sounds good on paper, but I think this is going to add a lot of areas for teams to exploit and be better at, which means that the grid will actually be separated more than being closer. The grid is not going to be close in 2026 or 2027. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But consider all of these changes, especially with power unit freeze coming off. Teams being able to develop their power units even more. Man, I think that's going to... Mercedes will be up there for sure. Ferrari might be there or there around. McLaren is using Mercedes engine, by the way. So if Mercedes is able to develop their engines, they will work better for the Mercedes car compared to the McLaren car. Which means that basically, I don't think McLaren is going to be that competitive anymore in 2026, 2027, 2028 and onwards, especially if they can't develop their own power unit. Red Bull has had issues with their power units. That's been the rumors going around, is that Red Bull has had issues with their power unit development. So it seems like while this engine freeze, I wasn't in favor of the engine freeze initially, but while it has improved, it has helped to improve competitiveness. We got 4 teams fighting. I'm sorry, we're not going to see that anymore. The more things teams have to play with, the more room they have to play, the more they can innovate, the more separated the sport is going to be. It's going to go back to like 2014 or our elite, or at least 2017, 2018. That's where it's going to be. 2 teams battle, not 4 teams. That's what I'm predicting. And most likely it's going to be Mercedes and it's going to be Mercedes, and it's probably going to be Ferrari who's at the top. That's my prediction, is Mercedes and Ferrari. But who will lead? Probably Mercedes. Now, don't forget, we also got Audi coming in. We got Audi coming in as well. I believe they will also be producing their own power unit. Audi provides update on 2026 power unit development. So far, we have achieved all the targets. Wow, so this is looking spicy. Audi will join the grid as well, so that's actually looking really exciting. Audi have shared more details surrounding their 2026 power unit project as the German automotive giant ramps up preparation to take on the Kick Sauber entry and join the Formula One grid. Back in 2022, Volkswagen Group brand Audi announced plan to enter Formula One as a power unit supplier when new regulations feature increased electrical power and 100% sustainable fuels are introduced. Audi then opted to partner with Sauber and recently took 100% control in the Swiss operation, meaning full rebrand is on the way for the start season of 2026. And the sport's new era will begin. Yes, this is a big deal for Formula One. I'm glad Audi is joining the grid. We have no idea where they will be in Formula One, but I look forward to it. Maybe a fresh perspective is what we need. And they're a German manufacturer as well. So are Mercedes. So if Audi is competitive, that's going to be real spicy. I cannot wait to see that for sure. But this is what they want to accomplish for the sport. I understand the objective. I understand what they want to accomplish. But the way they're going about this, that's too many things to change in one season's difference. Understand, these are all the changes that are coming for 2026. Cars will be 30 kilograms lighter. Better battles on track. I would like better battles, but will they be close? Will the teams be close? A redesigned power unit featuring increased battery power and even a split in between internal combustion engine and electrical power, plus the use of 100% sustainable fuel. 100% sustainable fuel. Is that right? Active aerodynamics in form of movability front and rear wing to allow for closer racing. With the new sustainable fuel and with all the updates that are coming all the changes that are coming to the power unit, there's going to be some teams that are reliable, and then there's going to be some teams that are not very reliable. There used to be a time in Formula One where, cars, they just weren't very reliable because they would push the engine. They would try to exploit everything, every little ounce of performance from that engine. And sometimes it will overload. Now, we've seen that since the engine freeze, we haven't had a lot of cars being unreliable consistently. We've had the odd one here or there, but consistently unreliability, we haven't seen that. We're going back to the age of having, a lot of vehicles being inconsistent, in its reliability. Active aerodynamics in form of movable front wing and rear wing to allow for closer racing. That does sound good, but why can't they introduce these upgrades one at a time per season, or two at a time per season? But to introduce all of this in one new season, I am telling you, someone's going to get it right, and a lot of people are not going to get it right. Which means that we're going to have to watch the sport being dominated by one or two teams for a long time. And when they when they close up, when they get close, there's going to change. Although I think it's going to be difficult for team to close up now. There'll be no more engine freeze, as far as we know. There's just so many things to exploit, so many things to work on. This stage we're in Formula One, 2024, 2025, we're really fortunate. We're not going to see this again. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am wrong. But I am telling you, not to mention the teams at the back of the grid, do you really think that they can make all of these changes like the top teams can? No, they can't. That's going to add even more disparity in between the teams. I think where the sport is right now, a couple seasons ago, Aston Martin wants being competitive. I think where the sport is right now, I think these rule changes need to be carefully introduced, slowly but surely. But to introduce everything all at the same time, I am telling you, this is not going to go well as we think. It's not going to be competitive racing anymore. The grid is going to be very much separated. And this is just for the first season. The second season, teams will fine-tune it and just improve and find new ways. As exciting as it is, it's exciting for the engineers. It is exciting for all the people that are designing these cars, building these vehicles. It is exciting for the engineers, I must admit. But for the fans, it's not really exciting. It's not really exciting. This is a lot of change. If they said they were going to introduce 10% of these changes in 2025, I would have been okay with that. And then another 10% or another 20%, in 2026, I'd be okay with that.